Welcome to today's tutorials, whereby I'm going to give predictions for the Kcse 2022 March. That is paper 2 section B. I have the full paper. You can get it at the link provided below. That is www.mwalimuogeke.co.ke. That is, you can get the paper there, the full paper there. That is paper 2. And this marking scheme, you shall get it there. I have not done all the questions, but I've done the 4 questions. I'm feeling that this time you cannot miss them. That is a question. The first question, of course, we have question number 17, which is a graph question. You'll see it on the paper. But I'm doing question number 18, and there are some other questions that I'm feeling so much you'll find them this year. So I've started with question number 18, that is on variations. That's a Form 3 topic. The question is talking about three quantities. P, Q, and R are such that P varies directly as Q and inversely as the square root of R. P varies directly as Q and inversely that is it is all over, that is square root of R. So if you introduce an equal sign here, it will be now P equals to, we introduce a constant, KQ, K is a constant in this case, all over square root of R. So you are further given some instruction that given that P equals to 2250 and Q equals to 450 and R equals to 64, write down an equation connecting P, Q, and R. So what you do, you need to form an equation. An equation by replacing here with the values, like this equation with the values. You replace P with the value 2250. So that will be 2250 will be equal to K. K is times Q, and the Q we are given 450. So it's 450K. All over the R is square root of that's square root of R, which means square root of 64. So this will give you 2250 equals to 450K all over square root of 64 is 8. So if now you cross multiply, we'll get 450K equals to 2250 times 8, which gives you 2250 times 8 gives you 18,000. So that is 450K equals to that. We divide by 450 both sides, so that will mean with K. K will be equal to 18,000 divided by 450. So K is 40. So the equation connecting will be P equals to K, in this case is 40Q or a square root of R. So this is the equation connecting the letters P, Q, and R. Then after getting the equation connecting, question part 2 is that if Q is decreased by 16 and R increased by 44, calculate the percentage change in P. Q is decreased by 15. So you go to equation here. We have been told that Q is decreased by 16. So from 100 you decrease by 16, you get 84. So 84 divided by 100, you get 0.84. So it is 0.84%. So you get 84%, that is 0.84. Then, so it will be 0.84 times, of course, KQ, and K is 40. So 40 times 0.84 times Q. That is our P1. So you write your P, the first P to be the way it is, P here. Then the second P1, it is now 40 times decreased. So if it is decreased, is 84%, 84 of 100 is 0.84 times 0.84 times Q, the way it is. Then all over, we are told that R is increased by 44%. So if it is increased by 44%, it is 100 plus 44 gives you 144, divided by 100 gives you 1.44. So one square root of, it must be that number you get 1.44 must be under the square root, like R is also under square root. So all over square root of 1.44 r. So that if you multiply 40 times 0.84, it gives you 33.6 q, all over square root of 1.44 you get is 1.2 times the square root of r, because r remains. So we shall get that is you get 28q, that is 28q all over r. If you divide that 3.6 divided by 1.2, you get 28q all over square root of r. So that is our P1. And we know percentage change will be now P1. Like if you are dealing with the buying price and selling price, we say it's selling price minus buying price all over the buying price times 100. So percentage change now in this case, that is the percentage profit. Percentage change in this case will be P1 minus P all over P times 100. This was our original. So our P1 is here. This is our P1 minus our P was our P was here, was this one. Okay, it was here our P 40q all over square root of r. So minus that, then all over the original, that is 40 times q all over square root of r, then times 100. So from there you can factor out q all over 100 can be factored out here. Q all over root of r. Q all over root of r, if you factor out it here, you get it as q all over root of r into bracket 28 minus 40. Then all over 40 q all over r. Now q all over r can cancel out. If you cancel here, you cancel q over r. Q over r will remain with 28 minus 40 all over 40 times 100. So if you get this negative 12 all over 40 times 100, this gives you negative 30. Meaning the percentage change was, it decreased. P decreased by 30%. Percentage change is P is decreased by 30%. So you realize that P will be decreased by 30%. Part B of the question is that in a soccer competition, the number of goals, that is G, scored in a penalty shootout is partly constant and partly varies as the skills S of the player. Given that G equals to 8 when S equals to 2 and G equals to 12 when S equals to 4, find the value of G when S is equals to 6. When you hear of the word partly constant, so that means here you form simultaneous equations, because there is an addition of partly constant. Partly varies as this and partly as this. So in a soccer competition, the number of goals G scored in a penalty shootout is partly constant. So that means G equals to constant. If I introduce a constant, I call it C, constant C, plus, and partly varies as the skill S. So plus Ks, another constant K and S. Now you form the equation by replacing with the G and S, G and S. So G is 8 and S is 2. G8 equals to constant C plus S is 2, so it's 2K. That becomes our equation 1. Equation 2, and G is 12. 12 equals to C plus, and S is 4, 4K. So now you can solve this simultaneously. If you look at this, C is common, so we subtract. If we subtract the 2, we are able to get negative 4. This gives 0 equals to negative 2K. So negative 2 divided by negative 2 divided by negative 2, so our K becomes 2 positive. So if 2 is 2 positive, our K is 2 positive, we'll place it in n of this equation. If I place K with 2, for instance, in this equation here, so it is 8 equals to C plus, 2 times 2 is 4, plus 4. 8 equals to C plus 4. C plus 4, and therefore C equals to 8 minus 4. C is 4. So therefore, you write now the equation, find the value of G when S. The equation is G equals to 4 with this C plus 2S. So when S is 6, that means G equals to 4 now in this case, plus 6 times 2, which is 12. 6 times 2 is 12. Because this equation will place where there is an S with 6, so that we find G. So g equals to 4 plus 6 times 2, which is 12 plus 4, g is 16. So that is what the question required you to do. This question, I feel that it may appear. So let us begin on it. We go to the next question that I'm feeling, I'm strongly feeling it might appear. It's a question on integration, and most likely this time on graph, because last time we had integration in paper 1 and it was there on application part, that is on kinematics. But this time I am feeling strongly that we might have this question, integration, and mostly on a graph. So the diagram below shows the curve x cubed. It shows the curve, it's supposed to be x cubed. It shows the curve y equals to x cubed. Y equals to x cubed minus 3x squared. It should be y equals to x cubed minus 3x squared minus 9x plus k. You just write that if you are not able to see as y equals to x cubed minus 3x squared minus 9x plus k, where k is a constant. The curve has a minimum point on the x-axis. It has a minimum point on the x-axis. This is the minimum point. That's a minimum point on the x-axis. And we know that at x-axis y is equals to 0. Now, we have been asked to find the value of k. So we first of all need to know that at turning point, the gradient is always equal to 0. Gradient, that's dy over dx equals to 0. And therefore, 0 equals to 3x squared minus, if we integrate this equation, we differentiate because this is differentiating. If we differentiate 3x cubed, we differentiate the power, we differentiate x cubed, the power reduces and the power multiplies the coefficient of x, so it becomes 3x. It becomes 3x squared because it was cubed, it reduced by 1 and the 3 multiplies here. So it becomes 3x squared, that is the gradient 0 equals to 3x squared minus, it was 3x squared. So squared, that is power 2 times 3 gives you 6. 6x, it is power of 2. 2 minus 1, it becomes 1. So x power 1 is the same as x. So it becomes 3x squared minus 6x, then minus 9x. So if it was minus 9x, x now it's power of 1. 1 minus 1 times 9 is 9, and 1 minus 1 is 0. So it becomes 9x power 0. X power 0 is 1. So it becomes 9. So it becomes 3x squared minus 6x minus 9 equals to 0. So that is the equation. So in this equation we solve it. We can use the quadratic formula method, so that we know that x is equal to minus b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Our minus b is minus 6, which becomes 6 plus or minus square root of b squared is the negative 6 squared gives you 36 minus 4ac. Because of this negative, it is 4 times 3 is 12, 12 times 9 is 108. Because of this negative becomes positive. So it's 36 plus 108 all over 2a. 2 times 3a is 3. 2 times 3 gives you 6. So it becomes 6 plus or minus square root of, this gives you 144. It is 12 all over 6. So it can be 18 all over 6. That gives you 2. X equals 2. If we talk about that is 18 divided by it gives you 3, or 6 minus 12 gives you negative 6 over 6 is negative 1. So x is 3 or negative 1. But remember the point here at this point. So the minimum point is now becomes 3, 0, because at this point the other point here is negative 1. So this other point here is the other turning point here is negative 1. X is negative 1. So but at this point x is 3 and the value of y is 0, obvious. So because we know at the x-axis, y is 0. So we shall be having the minimum point as 3, 0. So if we substitute there to find the value of y, we know that y is 0, of course. 0 equals 2. We substitute the value of x here as 3. We are substituting these values in the equation. In the equation, the original equation, y equals 2 x cubed. It was x cubed minus 3x squared minus 3x squared minus 9x plus k. So we are substituting 3 and 0 in the equation. So if you substitute in the equation, y is 0 equals to, where we have x, we put 3. So it would be x cubed, which is 3 now cubed, minus 3 into x squared, that is 3 squared, minus 9x, that is 9 times 3, plus k. So if we substitute all that, 0 equals to 27, this gives you 27, minus this is 9 times 3 is 27, then minus 9 times 3 is 27 plus k. So that means 27 minus 27 is 0. So 0 minus 27 is negative 27. If we bring this other side, then k equals to 27. K equals to 27, and that is what we are asking to find. So that is how you want to find the value of k. Then we are asking to find the coordinates of the maximum point of the curve. The coordinate of the maximum point of the curve, we know at this maximum point, we know that it is at this point, and here we know that x we found as negative 1 and 3, so at this point x is negative 1. So if x is at the negative 1, so we need to find the value of y. We substitute in the equation. So it will be negative, supposed to x equals to negative 1. We substitute here negative 1 cubed in the equation minus 3 into negative 1 squared minus 9 plus 27. So finally you find y to be 32. So coordinate of the maximum point is negative 1 and 32. And finally, we are asking to find the area of the shaded region, the area of this shaded region here. So what we do, we integrate this line. We integrate this line. The area of this part, it is this line minus, it will be that part. We integrate that part with respect to, we integrate with respect to the point here, which is 3, and this is 0 obvious, 3, 0, x, 3 and 0. So x, 3 and 0, we integrate that with respect to x, 3 and 0. We integrate the whole equation with respect to between 3 and 0. It is between 3 and 0, this part. So 3 and 0, we integrate the equation of that curve, x, 3 and 0. So it will be 3 and 0 integration of x cubed minus 3x squared minus 9x plus 27 dx. So if you integrate this, it gives you x power 4 over 4, and this gives you 3 x power 3 over 3 minus 9x squared over 2, 9x squared over 2 plus 27x plus 27x. So this one is 3 power 4 over 4 minus this 3 and 3 cancels. So we remain with 3. We are substituting with 3 now. We are substituting with 3. Substitute with 3 minus 0. When you minus 0, everything becomes 0. So in simple terms, we just substitute 3 in this equation. So if we substitute the value of 3 in this, instead of x, we put the 3. That's what we are doing. So this 3 power 4 over 4 minus 3 into 3 cubed over 3 minus 9 into 3 squared over 2 plus 27 times 3 minus 0, because this 0 is substituted here becomes 0. So that gives you, if you this cancels, if you do it using your calculator, you'll find it that this is 81 over 4 minus this is 27, and this becomes 981 over 2 plus 81. This gives you 81. So 81 over 4 minus 27 minus all of that gives you 135 over 4 square units, or in simple terms you can call it 33.75 square units. So that is how you want to find the area of that shaded part. Now we go to the next prediction question, is question number 21. The rest of the question you'll find in the paper that are posted at mwalimuogeke.co.ke. The link is provided below. Question 21 is OPQ is a question on factors. You expect a question on factors this time. OPQ is a triangle in which OP equals to P and OQ equals to Q. X is a point on OP such that OP into XP equals to 5:2, and Y is another point on PQ such that PY is to YQ equals to 1:2. Line OY and XQ intersect at T. Express the following factors in terms of P and Q. You express the factors in terms of P and Q. It is good that you make a sketch if possible. You make a sketch so that if you made a sketch for this one, you'll be able now to note the points. It's good to make a sketch so that express PQ. We are taught that PQ, the first thing I think we need to do here is to make a sketch, because if you made a sketch, it is better, because it's better we make a sketch. Let me get a drawing tool so that I make a sketch for this one. That is, we are taught that OP is a triangle on which, so if we make a triangle like that, a triangle this O, we are taught that OPQ is a triangle in which OP is, so we can call it this one as our P, and this one as our Q. Then we are told that OP is P factor, and we are also told that OQ is Q factor. OQ is Q factor. X is a point on OP. On OP we have a point X here. X is a point on OP such that OP to XP, such that OP to OP such that OP O to P we are taught OP to XP, OP to XP, it's 5:2. So that means the whole line O to P is 5, XP is 2. So this is 2, and therefore this is 3:2. 3:2. That gives you that ratio is 3:2. So and Y is another point on PQ. Y is another point on PQ. So on PQ we have a Y here. Another point on PQ such that PY is to YQ, it is 1:2. Line OY, if you drew a line here, a straight line of course, line OY and XQ, so we have another line here, XQ, they intersect at T, so there is a point T here, they intersect at T. So express the following factors in terms of P and Q. So if I'm now told, after drawing that sketch, I'm now able to explain. If you sketched first, you are able to move on. Explain the following factors in terms of P and Q. PQ. So from P to Q, without going direct, I need to come PO plus OQ. PO, it is PO, this is O. PO plus OQ. PO plus OQ. PO is negative P, plus OQ is Q. So it is negative P factor plus Q factor, which is the same as Q factor minus B. OY. OY, you can go to OP plus PY. OP plus PY, and OP is P factor plus PY, it's a third, because the whole line is a third of PQ plus a third of PQ, a third PQ, that is PQ we know is Q minus Y. So it is P plus a third Q, if you open this bracket, minus a third P. So that gives you 2/3 P, that is like times together this and this gives you 2, that is P minus a third is 2/3 P plus a third Q. QX, I'm asked of Q to X, this Q to X. QX, it is a QO, you can go this way, that way, or this way and that, which is the better. It's QO plus OX. So QO is negative Q plus OX. OX is 3 all over, the total is 5, 3 over 5 of P. So it is minus Q plus 3 over 5 P, which is the same as 3 over 5 P factor minus Q factor. We go to the next question, is that if OT equals to KOY, O to T is KOY. So if we have K here, this becomes 1 minus K. That is, if we have here is K, then here is 1 minus K. And then we also told that QT, Q to T, QT is HQX. QT is H. From Q to T is H. So this is 1 minus H. Because the whole line is 1. Express OT in 2 ways. OT in 2 ways. Now, what we do for us to express OT in 2 ways, so we need to express O to T in 2 ways. The first way, let us go what we are given. The first way is what we are given. OT equals to KOY. So that is the first way. OT equals to KOY. So it is OT equals to KOY. OY, we must have found it here. So it is, you replace OT equals to K into this one. That is 2 over 3 P plus a third Q. So you can open that bracket. It comes OT as 2 out of 3 K P factor plus a third Q factor. A third K Q factor. So that is the first equation. Then the second equation, we express OT in another way, but we must use H. So we come to OQ plus QT. So OQ is Q plus H. We know that QT is HQP, HQX. It is HQX. So it will be Q plus H into QX. QX we know is here. So it is Q plus HQX, that is Q plus H into QX is what we have here, 3 out of 5 P minus Q. Then we open it's Q plus 3 out of 5 HP minus HQ. So like times it is this Q and this Q, we factor out, it will be Q into 1 minus H. Q into 1 minus H plus 3 out of 5 HP, that gives you equation 2. Now we equalize this equation 1 and equation 2, or we solve them simultaneous, that's what we mean. But because both of them are OT and OT, this is OT first equation and OT, so that means they are equal. So this equation and the whole of this equation 2 are equal. So if we equalize, then that means the factor Q will be equal and the factor P will be equal, meaning that 3kp, if I deal with the P factor, it is 3 over 5, the one with H. This is the one with the P, that is the one with the P, it is 2 out of 3 kp factor. 2 out of 3 kp factor will be equal to the one with P is here, it is here, That is the one with h. Now it is p with h. It is here 3 out of 5 hp. So if we equalize that way, p factor and p factor cancels, so we remain with 2 out of 3. We remain with 2 out of 3. K equals to 3 out of 5 h. We can make k the subject. If we make k the subject, that means we times the reciprocal here, 3 out of 2. So it becomes k equals to 3 out of 5 h times 3 out of 2. That gives you 9 out of 10 h. That is k. And we also equalize the one with q. The one with q, that is a third kq factor. We equalize it with q into 1 minus h. A third kq factor equals to q into 1 minus h, q and q. So we shall be having a third k, where we have a k we replace with the 9 out of 10 h equals to 1 minus h. So this, we open the bracket, it gives you 9 out of 30 h equals to 1 minus h. So we remain with if we bring we can bring h the other side here, it becomes 9 out of 10 h plus h equals to 1. So that gives you 19 out of 10 h equals to 1, meaning that h we multiply the reciprocal. That means h equals to 10 out of 19. 10 out of 19 is our value for h. And therefore we find k, because we know that k equals to 9 out of 10 h. K is 9 out of 10 h, and therefore k equals to 9 out of 10 times h, which is 10 out of 19, which 10 and 10 cancels, so k is 9 out of 19. K is 9 out of 19, and therefore OT to TY, remember OT to TY, if we go to our equation here, OT to TY, OT is k. So if we know we know k is 9 out of 19. So OT is 9 out of 19. That means if we subtracted here, the other one will be 1 minus, that is 9 out of 19. TY will be 9 minus 9 out of 19, because the whole thing is 1 minus that. This gives you, that's 19 minus 9 is 10. So it gives you 9 out of 19 into 10 out of 19, meaning the ratio is 9 is to 10. OT to TY is 9 is to 10. That is the ratio. That is a question you expect this time. That's paper 2. Be keen on it. And finally, my prediction is a question on sequence and series. We have geometric progression and arithmetic progression. I am expecting a question that will combine the two of them. For instance, this one is talking about if x minus 1 and 1 over 8, that is one number, another one is x, another one is x plus 3 over 2, are first 3 consecutive terms of a geometric progression. Determine the value of x and the common ratio. So we know that to get the ratio is x over this equals to this one over x. So if we make this x over, if we made this is 8, 9 over 8. So x over x minus 9 over 8 will be equal to x plus 3 out of 2 over x. This over that, and this over this. So what you do, I have made this a single fraction. That is, it becomes 8x minus 9 over 8. And this one I have also made it a single fraction to be 2x plus 3 over 2, then all over. This one is supposed to be all over. The whole thing here is supposed to be all over x. So if it is all over x, and then that is 2x plus 3 all over 2 all over x. So what we do, we cross multiply. If we cross multiply, that is if we cross multiply here, it becomes 8x. That is this is a division. First of all, this side, it is if it is a division, x divided by 8x minus 9 over 8 is the same as x times 8 all over 8x minus 9, which is 8x all over 8x minus 9 equals to, this is also a division, x will multiply by this over 2 divided by x over 1, so it's like 2x plus 3 over 2 times divided by x over 1, so times 1 over x, so it becomes 2x plus 3 over 2x. If we divide it by, just divide 2x plus 3 all over 2 divided by x over 1, it will give you 2x plus 3 all over 2x if you divide. So after dividing, now we cross multiply. It becomes 2x times 8x. 8x times 2x equals to 2x plus 3 over x times x minus, that is 2x plus 3 into 8x minus 9. So here this gives you 16x squared. 16x squared, you expand this one. If you expand, you get 16x squared minus 18x plus 24x minus 27. So 16 and 16 will cancel x squared. So we remain all these will common here. Negative 18x plus 24 gives you 6x minus 27 equals to 0. So that means 6x, if we bring 27 to the other side, 6x equals to 27. So that if we divide by 6 by 6, x equals 2. That is 9 over 2. That's 3 as 2. 3 is 9. 9 over 2, which is the same as 4.5. That is our x. And therefore, we are asked that to find r, the common ratio. So common ratio, remember we said it is this over this. So 9x is 9 over 2. Divided by 9 over 2 minus 9 over 8. If we use 9 over 2 minus 9 over 8, 9 over 2 divided by 9 over 2 minus 9 over 8. So 9 over 2, this one is subtract, you get 27 over 8, divided by that. So it is, this is the reciprocal times the reciprocal that, 9 over 2 times 8 over 27 gives you 4 over 3, that is the common ratio. Value of x and the common ratio. Value of x we got, and the common ratio is 4 over 3. Then we are asked that to calculate the sum of the first 6 terms of this progression. We know that when r modulus, the modulus of r is this one 4 over 3 is more than 1. So we use this formula a into r minus 1, r power n minus 1 over r minus 1. So we use that formula. So it is from the table. This formula should not be cramming. It is there in the mathematical table. So we use it and substitute where we have a is the first term, and our first term here we have subtracted here 9. This is in x minus 9 over 8. X minus 9 over 8. That is our first term. That is 9 over 2 minus 9 over 8 is our first term, which is the same as 27 over 8 as our first term. That is our a. Our r, we have got it, is 4 over 3, and our n is the number of terms is 6. So we do the sum equals to 27 over 8, that is our first term, into 4 over 3 power 6 minus 1, or 4 over 3 minus 1. So we do all that, our sum becomes 46.76388. We are told the last question is another sequence as the terms negative 13, negative 16, negative 19, up to negative 310. Find the sum of this sequence. Find the sum of this sequence. We need to note here that you have the last number. If you have the last number, we don't know the number of another sequence as the terms. We don't know the number of terms. Find the sum of this sequence. Now the last term, we know that a sum, when we have the last term, is n over 2 into a plus l. Our n, we must have been told that 6 terms of the progression, and here we have another sequence as the terms. Find the sum of this sequence. We know that Okay, first of all, we needed to know we need to find n. And for us to find n, we know that nth term, that's our last term, is our nth term. Our nth term is the last term, is 310 negative. Our d is, remember, if we used negative 16 divided by negative 13, we cannot have a common ratio, and negative 19 divided by, we don't have a common ratio. So this is not geometric, this is arithmetic. If we realize it's arithmetic, now we subtract it. This minus negative 16 minus 13 is the same as negative 16 plus 13, and that gives you 3 negative. And it's also common. Negative 19 minus 16 is it also gives you negative 3. So that is our difference. Our common difference is negative 3. Negative 3 is our common difference. Our last term is negative 310. And we know that any term is a into n minus 1 into d. So negative 310 equals to negative 13 into n minus 1 times negative 3. So that if you substitute all that, you'll find the value of n to be 100. So this is where the task was, finding the terms, the number of terms, so that if you have the number of terms 100, and we know the first and the last term, we can use this formula to find the sum as n over 2 into a plus l. So our number of term now is 100, all over 2 into the first term is negative 13 plus the last term is negative 310. If we add this, negative 13 minus 310, it gives you negative 323 times this gives you 50. So it gives you negative 16,150 as the sum. So the task was to find the last term, to find the number of terms. Number of terms were 100 after substituting, after knowing that d is negative 3 and l is negative 310, and we know the formula to find the nth term is a into n minus 1 into d, and nth term is negative 310. Thank you for listening to this tutorial. Subscribe, and I wish you all the best as you tackle your Kcse March 2022. I wish you all the best. I know you remember after doing this paper, because at least you cannot